You know, when I look around at all the entrepreneurs who are grinding it out, spending 70 to 80 hours per week growing their business, you have to ask yourself the question, at what cost? Hi, my name's Tim Uchuk, and in this podcast, we're going to be exploring the tools, tactics, and strategies for crushing it and scaling your business without making the ultimate sacrifice of your time and freedom. Hey everyone, Tim Uchuk here, and in this quick training, I want to talk to you a little bit about the year ahead. You might be thinking about some of the plans, some of the things you want to accomplish over the next year, over the next coming months. And a lot of people are fond of resolutions. I'm really not fond of resolutions, and I'm going to talk to you about why that is. And I want to share with you a strategy that's actually, in my experience, I think will help set you up for greater success and fulfillment over the next year. And we're going to cover off 3 sections in this quick training. And the first section is, and let me just press pause real quick. So if you're watching this in real time, I'd appreciate it if you just threw in the comments so I know that you're here, #live. And if you're catching this video on the replay, if you could put #replay in the comments below, that'd be amazing. Now let's start with the first section here, which we're going to talk about your values. And the interesting thing about your values is that they tend to not really change. They tend to stay the same over the long term. So you can see here it says goals equals, there's a little triangle, which is the delta, which means change. Goals equal change. Values equal constant, infinite. So your goals, you could probably remember back to the time when you were in your 20s, early 20s or prior to. Your goals were probably much different. Maybe you wanted to have a bachelor pad or an apartment in the city, and then you hit your 30s and you probably wanted to settle down and maybe get a house. So your goals are always changing in your life, but the funny thing is your values tend to stay constant. And so what we're looking at right here is, this is the idea of what fulfillment and happiness really is, which is an idea I like to call value stacking. And if you think about these being all of your values, we've got some examples here like health, family, wealth, purpose. You have your ideal and you have your actual. So here's the interesting thing. If you look back and you think in terms of when you are happiest, when you're feeling most fulfilled in your life, it's when your ideal and your actual stack, they're in alignment in terms of your values. So your actual over your ideal. So for example, if you value your health, if that's high up on your values, yet you're not taking time to exercise, to take good care of yourself, get good sleep, you're going to be out of alignment and you're not going to feel fulfilled. Same with your family. If your family is high up on the totem pole in terms of your values and you're not seeing your family very much, maybe you're working too many hours and you're just feeling a little bit guilty, guess how you're going to feel. So your goals, interestingly enough, can and will and always change, and that's okay. But your values are really where your fulfillment is going to come over the next year. So let's move into the next section here, number 2. And this relates because what I want to talk to you about is that systems are actually greater than goals. Systems are greater than goals. What does this mean? I'm going to share a quick quote with you by Jon Kabat-Zinn, which is, the little things, the little moments, they aren't little. What does that mean? Well, today, not next year, not 6 months from now, summer. Today determines the tomorrows of our lives, right? You've heard that quote before, and it's true. So what we really want to work on over the next year is what your average perfect day looks like. Your average perfect day. That's what's going to lead to happiness, because what we want to do, we're going to create an exercise, and I want to give you some action items out of this training, is for you to really look at each one of these values, list them out, look at each one of those, and describe some activities in terms of, let's say it's an average day, it could be a Sunday or a weekday. What are the activities that you're doing that exemplify these values? So for health, for example, I've got one of those Peloton bikes. That's an activity next to health for me, where when I do that, I'm getting that value back into alignment. Family, things like date night with my wife, things like one-on-one time with my kids. That's a very concrete, specific, tangible activity. When I do that, I'm getting my values back into alignment. So, number 1, so systems over goals means that we want to really perfect your average day. We don't want to just, we want to enjoy the journey, right? And so what we want to do is set up your year, the next year, as quickly as possible for success by, what I want you to do is, if you have a calendar, you might have Google Calendar or something like that, go into your week view, and once you have these activities, you're going to want to place your, what I call rocks. So things like exercise daily, or maybe it's 5 or 3 times a week, put that into your calendar and make it recurring. So for health-wise, it might be exercise. Block it into your calendar, pick a specific time, and think of it as a mini contract. I recommend you start small, by the way. So if this is a new habit, start small and just block off one day in the calendar and look at that as a contract. When it comes to family, one thing that I have is date night with my wife. Put it in your calendar, make it a contract, and start to commit to these things that are going to pull you back into alignment. And guess what? When you're feeling fulfilled, you're just going to be able to bring it in all other aspects of your life when you start working on this. The other thing is, I want to talk about, so we've got your calendar here. The second part is what I refer to as an anchor. An anchor. So an anchor is a big idea, something big that you want to pull off, and it's a little bit uncomfortable. And I'm going to tell you a quick story here. You're going to see a word that says ocean house. So it should be a little bit uncomfortable, and it's an anchor to, we always, in terms of us human beings, when we're growing, when we're in growth, when we're not stagnant, that's when we're also fulfilled, right? And so it's always nice to have an idea that's just slightly outside of your comfort zone, that's going to help stretch you and grow you and make you move into that bigger future, right? You're always expanding that future for yourself. So the idea of an anchor is, what is one domino that's going to take care of all these other things in your life, that if you achieve this, if you accomplish this, you're going to be a very, very happy, fulfilled, successful person. What is ocean house here? I'm going to tell you a quick story. So a couple years ago, my wife and I were talking about what success looked like for us, for our family. We got 3 young kids, right? What does success look like? Well, we were living in Edmonton at the time, where I run my business, and we wanted to, my wife was from Vancouver Island on the West Coast, and I spent over a decade on the coast, and we really wanted to get back to the ocean, and we wanted actually to raise our kids on the ocean. So the question was, do we sell the business, or do we just wait until retirement to move to the coast? This was a very uncomfortable idea to think that we could do it sooner. But the very first thing that we did was we created this anchor by just literally writing it down on a piece of paper, this idea of a house on the ocean, and we put it in a jar. And I would look at this thing because it was prominently displayed in my house, and I thought about it every day. And so this became a domino, because once we were able to, if we were able to pull off this dream, it would take, so many things would have to fall into place, right? I'd have to set up my business to run itself. I would have to set up and build a team that could function and thrive without me. All of these things had to happen and had to fall in place. But what this represented, what this anchor represented for me was, time with kids, living on the coast, purpose. All of these things kind of fell into place with this massive idea, and it was a little bit uncomfortable and out of my comfort zone, right? So this anchor really became my focus, my target, and this is what dictated all of the activities over the year ahead. Just these 2 words on a piece of paper, not really complicated. But I think it's always good to have, 1 or 2 anchors in your life to help give you purpose, to help motivate you, to help get you excited. And you don't need to overcomplicate it. Figure out what your anchor is, write it on a piece of paper, and maybe put it in a nice jar or put it somewhere prominent that you can look at and it's kind of taunting you. The third piece here, so over the next year, a lot of these challenges, especially if you have a big anchor like this was a very big challenge for us. You want to be able to bring it as a leader if you own a company, and you want to be able to bring it and have energy, for your family and those around you. So what I want to talk about is this notion of gratitude, and I want to talk about just a little thought exercise here. But gratitude equals fuel is what we've written down here. What does that mean? Well, a synonym for gratitude is appreciation. And the interesting thing about appreciation is, if you look at like a stock market, for example, when a stock goes up, it appreciates, right? And so when your gratitude grows, the appreciation just means the increase of value. So when you show gratitude for things around you, things that otherwise might look small, right? Just being grateful for having your health, for example. When you show gratitude, guess what? It appreciates, which means it takes on more value. It has more value to you, which means you're more satisfied in the present moment. And when you're more satisfied in the present moment, it means that we have a situation where you don't have room for resent. You don't have room for anger. This is taking up all that space within your life when you focus on it, because those little things around you start to take more importance than the other things that would otherwise become a nuisance for you. All those little things that would become a nuisance. So gratitude, what I recommend doing, remember systems over goals, is build a habit where first thing in the morning, write down or think about, or there's an app called the 5-Minute Journal, which is really, I recommend. Put in 3 things you're grateful for every day, and we're going to start to train your brain to focus on things that you're grateful for. And the more you do this, you're going to run out of things. So you're going to have to really get granular. Like, I'm grateful for my hands, for example. And the importance of this isn't just fluff. This is really forcing you to appreciate, right? Appreciate the small things around you. And that's going to be your antidote for all the things that would be otherwise getting you out of your zone, right? So we want to get you into the zone. When you're in this place, you're going to be able to tackle the things that are going to be challenging for you in order to achieve this anchor at the end of the day. So if you like this training, let me know in the comments. Like, share, feel free to share. I do have, if you are a business owner, we go through a similar exercise, but for your business, getting your business all set up for the year. If you like this, feel free again to like, comment, share. Otherwise, let me just throw a little M on the end of here. It's ugly, but it works. Feel free to join me over at perfectweekmethod.com. And in our group, it's called The Perfect Week. We teach you how to set up and reverse engineer your goals on the side of your business. So if you found these useful, we go much, much deeper. We teach you how to reverse engineer your goals for the year into the quarter, distribute them among your team members, and it's really cool, really powerful, and as you can see, really simple. So I hope you found this useful otherwise, and enjoy the rest of your day. Hey, Tim Uchuk here, and real quick, if you enjoyed this podcast episode, if you could take a couple quick seconds to give it a rating, it would be very much appreciated. And secondly, if you're looking for more tools and strategies on how you can crush it in life and business, just head on over to bookwithtim.com, where I've put together a free case study which shows you how to unlock unprecedented freedom today by using the 2 power levers. Just head on over to bookwithtim.com. Until next time, wishing you success and freedom in your business. Cheers.